All right, welcome back to the channel. We're going to talk a little something different than Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, the big fight this week. There is actually a little man fight that might be in the works that I believe is a very big deal. Guillermo El Chical Rigondeaux versus Raushee Warren. I know you know who Guillermo Rigondeaux is, and most people know who Raushee Warren is. We just don't see him very often. But Raushee Warren called out Guillermo Rigondeaux for what might be a very, very exciting and I think important bantamweight fight. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. Guillermo El Chical Rigondeaux, the future Hall of Fame little man if everything is right, versus Raushee Warren. Raushee Warren is a former WBA bantamweight champion that's 118 pounds, that has called out Guillermo Rigondeaux and said that he wants to get his hands on that belt this year. Now, if you're not familiar with who Raushee Warren is a fighter out of Ohio. He's associated with, he was an excellent amateur. I think he won several U.S. amateur, and I think he might have won a couple international amateur competitions, but he's a very, very good fighter. He has 2 losses on his record. One just to this guy, Obali. And Obali, it was a unanimous decision, but it was something, man, that, I thought that fight could have been a lot closer than it was, because Raushee Warren is a very excellent technical fighter. The thing is that Raushee Warren just really doesn't have a lot of power. And even, I know this might sound crazy, but even for 118 pounds, he's a small guy. I think at the amateurs, man, I think he was fighting at 115 pounds, man. But this is a fight that I think is excellent because it would match up somebody who I think is very, very underrated in that weight class, and somebody, by the way, I think has gotten a lot of really bad calls. And because Raushee Warren, I think the Obali fight, if you're familiar with the Obali fight, I thought that fight was closer than it was. And the one that he lost before that, I thought he won. But the thing with Raushee Warren is, man, Raushee Warren, because he doesn't have a lot of pop and he's a very defensively, he's a very, very slick fighter. He just, against some of the more aggressive fighters, he just didn't get the call. But to have him fight Guillermo Rigondeaux, I think is an opportunity for Raushee Warren to put his name on the map, because despite what, Guillermo Rigondeaux has gone through, Guillermo Rigondeaux is definitely one of the most recognizable names in weight classes below from 122 pounds down. Now, Rigondeaux is coming off of a win against, it's not Sosa. I keep forgetting the guy's name, but it was another older fighter who rocked Guillermo Rigondeaux in the first round. I think it was maybe the first or second round of that fight that he really hurt Guillermo Rigondeaux. Guillermo Rigondeaux collected himself, and then from there on out, he just pretty much put a big time clinic on against that guy. He wound up knocking the guy down, hurting him several times, and he answered a question. Guillermo Rigondeaux answered a question that was out there about him from the previous fight that he had. Now, the previous fight that he had, which was against Seha, and that was at 122 pounds, because Guillermo Rigondeaux is moved down in weight from 122, which is super bantamweight, to bantamweight, which is 118 pounds. He moved down in weight, and against Seha, when he's at 122, he changed his style, and he stood there in front of Seha and wound up knocking Seha out. But again, man, he was getting a hit with a lot of stuff, when he was fighting on the inside, which is just not Guillermo Rigondeaux's style. Guillermo Rigondeaux is not what he's known for. Guillermo Rigondeaux was known for being very, very difficult to hit and having extremely lethal straight left hand, man. Both the straight left and the uppercut, kind of a pawing jab, distance finding jab, but just an absolutely, man, destructive straight left hand and left hook and left uppercut. It's just, man, the dude is just something else. Now, the reason that I think that this fight with Raushee Warren can be so good is, of course, to get more spotlight on Raushee Warren, one of the very few little itty bitty dudes from America that there is. Now, I call him a little itty bitty dude. I don't mean to insult him, but it's just what it is, man. There's not a lot of guys walking around fighting that weigh, 100 and that are going to be able to get down to 118 pounds. There's just not a lot of people doing that. And if you actually go to BoxRec and go through how many fighters that there actually are in those weight classes, I don't have those numbers off the top of my head anymore, but there's not any more than, 1,100, 1,200, 118 pounders in the world. Okay. And some of those weight classes, as far as like the 105, the 108, 105 and 108 don't have any more than 500. They don't have, I think the minimum weight only had like 250 active fighters in the world. And many of those 250s only had like 2 or 3 fights. You had, like, when you go through the pages of them, like page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you review how many fighters there are and what their records are, you'll see 3 or 4 of those pages full of people that don't have more than 3 fights. And then when you get up into like the 15 or like between, say, the top 25 guys, because they list them in ranking, but like the top 25 guys, then you'll start seeing guys with 15, 16, 17 fights. Maybe you'll get up there and catch a couple guys that might have 25, 26 fights. But, if you have 25, 26 fights and there's only 16 active fighters that have 16 fights, that tells you that a whole lot of those 35 fights that the guy has are against guys with 1, 2, 3 fights on their record. So it's just not there. Nowhere in the world really are there a lot of those guys, but specifically in the United States, it's just not a lot, because you can actually, and this might sound like a joke, but it's not. It's the truth. When you're talking about guys that can weigh athletic guys that weigh 105 and 108 pounds, they're gonna go ride horses. Those are the guys that wind up being excellent jockeys. Because you make more money and there is a more opportunity for you to be a horse jockey in the United States, because pretty much every state and every state in the union more than likely has horse racing somewhere, right? So there's a lot of horses going on, man. There's an opportunity as an athlete to make money there, where there's not necessarily that definitely not in the United States for that. Now, so when you have Raushee Warren, who is one of the better American fighters in, I hate to say pound for pound, but skill wise and accomplishment wise, one of the better American fighters who just doesn't have any name recognition, to have him be able to get in there with a guy that does have that, right? Because Guillermo Rigondeaux is, within the boxing world, Guillermo Rigondeaux is a known commodity. He might not be, now he's somebody that has been, I believe, severely mistreated by the boxing media and by boxing organizations. But his stint on HBO he was very, very well known. He's fought in 2 fights that have to be considered major fights. One was Guillermo Rigondeaux versus Nonito Donaire, when they were trying to say Nonito Donaire was, one of the top 3 pound for pound fighters in the world when he dispatched to him. And then there was, the debacle of a fight with Lomachenko, where he had to move up 3 weight classes to fight him. But now Guillermo Rigondeaux still does have that recognition, and he also is now in a stage of his career where he's, for the first time in a very long time, fighting on a regular basis. I do believe he's fought 2 times. He fought 2 times in the last year for Guillermo. 2 times in the last year, and he did rounds in those fights. I think Guillermo Rigondeaux might have done more rounds this year than he had done in the previous 3 years combined. because he never went. I don't think in 3 years he ever went past round 6. I think there was a couple round where he went 2 rounds. I think he went two rounds, and then maybe it was around the 5th round or something that he quit against Vasily Lomachenko, saying his hand was hurt. So this to me seems like the perfect opportunity for Raushee Warren and a great opportunity for Guillermo Rigondeaux. So I wanted to make sure I said something about it so people know that is out there on the radar. Keep these guys' names out there for these American fighters that are otherwise are really not going to get a lot of shine on them, but yet and still are going to give you exciting fights, because that last Guillermo Rigondeaux fight was exciting. So was the one with Seha. And the Raushee Warren fights are exciting too, man, because you get to really see a lot of excellent defense. Now, as far as how the fight goes, Guillermo Rigondeaux can sit there and pot shot Raushee Warren, because Raushee Warren is just not a strong puncher. At the same time, man, the thing might wind up into a very much a chess match, because if Raushee Warren if he's gonna stay on the outside and slick and try to be slick, well, I don't know, Guillermo Rigondeaux still might walk to him, man, and crack him with that stuff. So I would take Guillermo Rigondeaux in that fight, but I would definitely wish Raushee Warren well and hope that he gets a chance at another title, because he deserves it. Anyway, it is what it is. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Thank you to everybody that supports the channel through the Patreon, through the live stream super chats, and everybody that supports by being a channel member. I appreciate you so much. And with that, I'm out. Peace.